probably heard that plants need sunlight and water to survive, but what about bugs? Hi, I'm Kara, and I'm going to walk you through the world of carnivorous plants. Here I have a bog of carnivorous plants. A bog is just a place of stagnant water to help keep the plants moist all the time. Here I have two types of pitcher plants and a Venus flytrap. The rest of my plants I keep inside, and they include more of the same kinds of carnivorous plants, just different species. This one even ate a bug. Okay, so now that we've toured some of my plants, let's talk about how carnivorous plants come to be. Here are 4 vocabulary words that will help us along this journey. The first one is botany, which is the study of plants. Botanists are the people who go out and actually study these carnivorous plants as well as many other types. Our second vocab word is carnivorous. Carnivorous just means that one organism can eat another organism. Think of this out in the wild, we think of lions and tigers and all of those good things. These are carnivores, meaning that they will eat other organisms to gain energy. Our third vocab word is adaptation. Adaptations are an organism getting more accustomed to its environment over time, and this can require some changes. Some drastic changes like we're going to talk about today. Our fourth term is photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is how plants gain energy from sunlight and use it to make sugars and all the necessary things for it to live. Okay, so let's dive into our first carnivorous plant, which is probably the most popular one that you know of, the Venus flytrap. Venus flytraps are actually our smallest carnivorous plant in terms of how big it can get. Really, Venus flytraps can only get up to like 8 inches long. That is not very big when we're comparing it to all the other types out there. However, it does have really, really cool trap systems. These traps, when they come into contact with a bug, will actually snap shut. This is what we call an active trap. Venus flytraps can eat anything from flies to spiders to beetles, even if they get big enough, maybe some small tree frogs. But overall, they're going to be looking for really, really tiny insects, and some people who have Venus flytraps will actually feed them worms that you can buy at any pet store. Fun fact about wild Venus flytraps, they are actually found in North Carolina, where we have a lot of boggy areas. Next up, and one of my personal favorites, the sundew. Sundews have these bright, fun watermelon colors of green and pink. Like the Venus flytrap, they don't really trap very big insects, but they can trap things like flies and gnats. Sundews don't snap shut like Venus flytraps do. Instead, sundews have this sticky glue-like substance that when an insect comes into contact with it, it's basically impossible for them to leave. You saw the 3 sundews I have, and those are very different species. Overall, sundews have about 200 species worldwide. Next up is our only carnivorous plant actually found in bodies of water, and that is our bladderwort. A gross way to kind of remember these is that bladderworts always produce a yellow flower on top, and if you think about what the bladder holds and what color that is, that's an easy way to remember them. So bladderworts actually don't have a root system. They sit on top of the water and they have these little pouches called their bladders that can eat little insects. These insects are going to be slightly different than the other carnivorous plants we talk about because it's in a body of water. So it's going to eat water insects like water fleas and larvae and all of those good things. Despite the bladders being small, these are very much an active trap and will close shut much like the Venus flytrap. The fourth carnivorous plant we're going to talk about is butterwort. Bladderworts are really cool because only half of them are actually a carnivorous plant. The other half is a beautiful flower that pollinators and all of those things can enjoy. The leaf structures at the very, very bottom of the plant is where we have this sticky glue substance, just like with our sundew. Insects that like to crawl around on the ground, like ants and beetles, maybe even a mosquito that happens to land there, will all get trapped in this glue-like substance and not be able to move. However, the flower is far enough away from those leaves that the pollinators don't get hurt. There are about 80 species of butterwort that are known. They can be found in different places around the world, including Europe, North America, South America, and Asia. Fun fact about butterworts, the way that they actually got their name is because someone somewhere decided to use them as a way to make butter. And it worked. Their leaves actually, when they come into contact with milk, will make butter. So there you go. Easy way to remember butterworts. And last but not least is the pitcher plant. There are many types of pitcher plants. In the video at the beginning of this, you saw that I had 3 different types of pitcher plants. No matter the type, they all generally like to eat the same thing, unless you have the pitcher plant that can grow up to 8 feet long and it can digest smaller rodents and things like that. I don't have those, so the pitcher plants that I tend to take care of only eat things like flies and spiders and beetles and those types of insects, but there are some that can get really big. In fact, in the wild, if a pitcher plant hasn't come into contact with an actual organism, sometimes it will use the poop from organisms to help fertilize itself. Inside each of the leaves, we have the sweet nectar that really draws in insects. Once the insect is inside, it slits down the walls and it is basically trapped there. It's almost like trying to climb up a muddy hill. It's very, very difficult. So that insect is not getting out once it's in the trap. All right, so now that we've discussed all of our different types of carnivorous plants, let's talk about these adaptations and why they occur. Every single one of the traps on our carnivorous plants are just modified leaf structures. So how we would see a normal leaf be, these carnivorous plants, while they look different and may have different characteristics, are just leaves. Over time, these leaves have learned to be active traps, hold different chemicals, produce different sticky substances, all in the name of feeding the plant itself. So this boils down to the important question, why are there carnivorous plants? Every carnivorous plant needs one thing, nitrogen. See, in acidic environments, much like those where we see lots of standing water and boggy lands, we're going to have a lack of nitrogen in soil. Nitrogen is one of the most important components that a plant can have to help it grow big and strong. It's kind of like calcium for our bones and proteins for our muscles. In plants, nitrogens help build chlorophyll, and chlorophyll is a main component in photosynthesis, which we talked about at the beginning is the only way that plants can feed themselves. So over time, carnivorous plants have adapted and evolved to have these active traps to take nitrogen from these small insect organisms. These nutrients, along with sunlight and water, help them to grow and be the strong plants that they are. All right, so the most important question, which one is your favorite? Feel free to send me a message on OutSchool and let me know, because I'd love to talk to you about it. If you go back to the classroom, attached to this post are a bunch of video links that show you exactly how these different traps function. So go click on those because they're really, really cool. Additionally, you are ready for your plant adaptations worksheet. So be sure to get that done and check your answers before going to the next part, which is where we can create a nature journal page with me in another video. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this. Go do your worksheet, go watch those videos, and then meet me back here so that we can create a fun nature journal page. Bye!